So if you've been living under a rock, the long-awaited Nintendo Switch Direct finally aired, and it showed off the hardware and several games, such as upgraded versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, new Donkey Kong game, Elden Ring is being ported to it, and not only Elden Ring, but the unthinkable was shown at the end, a new Fromsoftware title known as the Duskbloods. During this announcement, everybody lost their minds. They thought it was Bloodborne 2. They saw the steampunk thing. They thought it was like it was a Liza P like. But since then, it's been confirmed that it is not a single player game that Fromsoftware is usually known for. It is confirmed to be a PvPvE say that 5 times fast game. And between this and the spin-off Elden Ring Nightreign being released next month, it's gotten a lot of fans of Fromsoftware raising an eyebrow because of this multiplayer direction of the company. Nightreign being compared to live service games with battle passes and microtransactions like Fortnite. And although there is a large multiplayer and PvP focused community, I would argue that this is not the focus for a majority of the player base. So I personally think these concerns are warranted, and FromSoft thought ahead, and these concerns were addressed in an interview with director Hidetaka Miyazaki. So today we'll cover some points in the interview I wanted to talk about, as well as the future of FromSoftware, my concerns for the Duskbloods specifically, and its Nintendo Switch 2 exclusivity. So yeah, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you've already seen the trailer, and I think we should just head right into the interview. Okay, so we should address one thing immediately. Is the company turning into Fromslop? No, it's not. So in the interview, Miyazaki was asked this right here: did you always have some desire to make a PvP versus E type game? First of all, I've never heard of this this label in my life. It's really ugly. I do not like it. Let me just read his answer here. Yes, I've always found the PvP versus E structure very interesting. It allows for a broad range of game design ideas while also letting us leverage our experience of designing challenging enemy encounters. As a side note, please allow me to address one thing. As previously mentioned, this is an online multiplayer title at its core, but this doesn't mean that we as a company have decided to shift to a more multiplayer focused direction with titles going forward. The Nintendo Switch 2 version of Elden Ring was also announced, and we still intend to actively develop single-player focused games such as this that embrace our more traditional style. So yeah, right there at the beginning of this interview, or at least the first page of this interview, they nipped that concern in the bud. Thankfully, they knew that this would probably be a concern for fans and addressed it immediately. But the problem is, I still think that the Duskbloods is a little bit concerning, not because of its multiplayer nature. I think Miyazaki could do whatever he wants. I will trust him. Not gonna lie. I just feel like this game could have been. Let's talk about what the game actually is. All right, let's just set the stage for really quick. Miyazaki was asked about the characters and setting, and he answers: the game's protagonists, or characters controlled by the player, are known as the Bloodsworn. The Bloodsworn are a group whose members have achieved superhuman abilities through the power of special blood. As a general concept, they're similar to vampires, but they are not portrayed as the horrifying monsters you might associate with the traditional vampirism. We tried to extract the sort of romantic aspects we found interesting from concepts such as vampires and blood, and reinterpreted them as the Bloodsworn. In the Duskbloods, the Bloodsworns are competing for something known as the First Blood. As human society reaches an end, First Blood flows in an event known as the Twilight of Humanity. The Bloodsworn are summoned to the Twilight of Humanity across a variety of different times and placed in a bid to obtain the First Blood. Due to this, there is no fixed era or location in the Duskbloods in which the Duskblood takes place. There are more traditional Gothic or Victorian style maps, as well as those depicting the closing years of the early modern period, like the one glimpsed in the trailer with the train running through it. So I think this is an interesting setting, and the plot of the game is literally the plot of Fate. Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, where the Holy Grail War. It does not take place in one timeline. It's heroes of like different timelines and stuff competing for the First Blood or whatever. So I think that's really interesting. And there's actually a post by Miyazaki earlier of him like applauding Fate Stay Night. So yeah, this is definitely Holy Grail War inspired game, which I find is a pretty interesting concept. I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice spin for those who know what it is. But yeah, when I read this, I was like, holy crap, it's literally fate. So I want to talk about the characters in the game. He was asked what are some characters of the Bloodsworn. There are several reasons we put the player's focus on the Bloodsworn, with one of those being character actions. The Bloodsworn possessed superhuman abilities thanks to special blood, so their actions are more dramatic than anything seen in our previous titles. Even basic character actions in the game such as sprinting, super jump, and double jump are designed to be dynamic and stress-free, and are complemented by each character's own unique weapons and abilities, allowing for a wide range of creativity. And while this isn't directly related to the Bloodsworn themselves, the setting allows for the depiction of firearms and such, and every character is equipped with some means of attacking from a distance. I feel this is one of the game's unique aspects when compared to our previous titles. I hope these new action elements are one area that players will enjoy. And then the interviewer asks, earlier you referred to protagonists or characters as plural. Does this mean the player will be able to choose from multiple different characters? Yes, there are over, and then he responds, yes, there are over a dozen characters for the player to choose from, each with their own identity and appearance. I think there are a lot of unique elements to the character designs and the weapons they use, so hopefully players can find one or two favorites among them, and they can be customized a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty neat. As a fighting game player, I think this is like a pretty neat concept. I like Nightreign for this too. You don't have to build something. They're just heroes, they're classes. You just pick them and go. I really like this because it allows them to be really intentional with their design and how the kits work together. I think that is a strength when you're able to design a character this way. And it just speaks to me as like a fighting game player. I get to like identify with a certain class. For example, like the recluse in Nightreign is like, I didn't really play a mage in Elden Ring because it's kind of, you just cast spells and it's basically just a magic version of a hit. But what the recluse does is they like steal elements from the mob or the boss, and then you use your other skill to like combine the elements, and the spell you cast is different depending on like the combination of spells you have. I just really like that kind of character that you have to kind of like really know the ins and outs, whereas I forget the name, but the cover art Nightreign character, he has a grappling hook. You hook in and then you swipe and then you could use a bomb, and like it's just there's like different play styles that are much more like thought out than like the typical like Souls gameplay that doesn't the stuff doesn't really mix and match together other than like your build, you know what I mean? Okay, so Miyazaki was asked, can you provide some more detail on the general gameplay loop? The game has a so-called hub area where players can choose their character, customize them, and enter online multiplayer. Online multiplayer supports up to 8 players upon concluding an online match. Players then return to the hub, at which point they receive some sort of reward, whether they win or lose. Using these rewards, players can further customize their character, and so the cycle continues. Online matches are generally last player standing. However, there are certain cases where victory conditions differ. For example, players may be tasked with teaming up to take down a powerful boss enemy or find themselves in other special circumstances. Okay, so I'm excited for this game and Nightreign. I'm gonna throw it out there, but I think these games are kind of like you play a little bit at a time. They're very gamey. They speak to me as a competitive fighting game player where you like acquire skills, you do things better, you improve, you can customize your build, which is pretty cool. And you're picking character. This is like a hero type game where you pick a character instead of the usual like build your own character. So I think that's kind of neat. You can like kind of pick your favorite character, kind of identify with them. But the thing is, what I like about Fromsoft games is the idea, like the immersiveness of like traversing a world, the lore, the story building, the immersion of like the sound effects and the music and stuff like that. And I think this game and Nightreign specifically, we haven't seen much gameplay of this game, but Nightreign, I played the beta test, and that thing is like go, fast. And while it's fun, I don't think it's it's not exactly what I want, you know what I mean? And you're saying like don't play it, right? But it's like, dude, I gotta play this. I gotta play it. I figured really, I'm really into the aesthetics of the game too. I mean, look at this frog guy I have on the screen. Put those things away. Jesus Christ. And the thing is on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I don't know if people know, but like there's been a big complaint about like the price of the console itself. I think the console price is fine, but like the lineup of games isn't so great that I would get it. I don't know if I would buy a Switch 2 just to play this game. I want to play it, but it's like there's an entry point. I have to pay $450 to $500 for the Switch 2. This game's probably going to be $70. God forbid it's $80. Like Mario Kart. And on top of that, this is an online only game. This is an online only game, meaning you have to pay for Nintendo's Switch Online service, which I believe is $25. I don't know. There's just so many like little things that add up, and I had to buy for this game just to play freaking Miyazaki's title. It's a smart choice on Nintendo's part, but goddamn, dude. Or am I really gonna pay like $600 to play this game? I don't know. Not to mention Nintendo just canceled pre-orders to reassess the price because of the tariffs. Like, this thing's gonna be $1,000 Duskblood machine. Who can afford that? Fromsoft's strongest soldiers cannot afford that. There's not many games right now that I want on the Switch 2 besides the Donkey Kong game. I would like to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on it, but God knows I'm doing that. That's going to take literally another 1,000 hours of my life. I don't know about that. So yeah, it just kind of sucks that this game's not coming to... It sucks for FromSoft fans that this game is not coming to PC, because I would argue that most FromSoft fans are not interested in like the Switch's offerings. I don't really play Mario anymore. I don't really play Pokemon that much anymore. I have a Switch. I'm playing Xenoblade on it these days, but yeah, I'm basically just waiting for the next Zelda game, and I'm not gonna make the same mistake of the Wii U, where I bought a Wii U day one because I knew Zelda was gonna come out on it. Yeah, that shit didn't happen. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait, and it just kind of sucks that, you know, this game might come and go, and I won't get to play it until it hopefully eventually comes to PC. Hopefully. I mean, look at, we're still waiting for Bloodborne. And that's another thing too. So this game is, a lot of people, when they saw the video, FromSoft fans are freaks, okay? They saw the hand and the way they spoke, and they're like, oh my god, it's FromSoft, including myself. They don't need to see anything else. They just know how Miyazaki directs these cutscenes, and people are like, holy shit, it's a fucking FromSoftware game. They said blood. People are like, oh my god, Bloodborne 2, right? I love the conglomeration of aesthetics of this game. The steampunk, this Van Helsing motherfucker, this Iron Man dude flying across the screen, this Vietnamese lady in her ao dai. These aesthetics are very cool, and it would have been very cool to use them in a single player game, you know what I mean? So it's just a little disappointing. Like during the trailer, there was just so much hype that this was going to be like a quote unquote real game from FromSoft. And after the direct, with like the price coming out, and then people learning that this is a multiplayer game, it just feels like very deflating. After it was just like very like, oh, that's what this is. And I'm sure the game's gonna be fun. I'm sure it's gonna be great. It just feels very like, ew. This is not what it feels like the monkey paw curled, you know what I mean? It's not, we got Bloodborne 2, but it's not exactly what we wanted, you know? So it's a little disappointing that like these games, this game is going to be stuck on the Switch probably, just like Bloodborne was stuck. It's still stuck. It's a little disappointing. So another concern of mine is that Miyazaki is directing the game. Something that kind of quelled my... I'm not even upset at Nightreign. I actually like the fact that they're making like smaller titles and reusing, like, I don't think reusing assets is bad, okay? But like making Nightreign, I think is a really good idea. And the cool thing about it is it's not directed by Miyazaki. It is being directed by Junya Ishizaki, who has also worked on Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring. Yeah, so he knows his way around a FromSoft game. The difference with the Duskbloods is the fact that it's being directed by Miyazaki himself. And that's where I kind of raised an eyebrow, because I personally think, like, I personally would rather him be working on the next big game. Yes, he could be working on it in tandem. He is known for doing this in the past with Deracine, a VR game, and Sekiro. So obviously he could be working on multiple projects at the same time. But sometimes, you know, I just kind of think like time is better spent elsewhere. So that's a small concern that I have. Obviously, I'm interested in it. I'm interested in everything he does. I think the man's a genius, and I respect his right to like make a multiplayer game. I just wonder, like, maybe this is like an opportunity to learn how to make the multiplayer in the mainline titles better. I personally think the end conclusion to like doing multiplayer games like this is making like a Souls MMO. That could be pretty interesting. That could be pretty immersive. People live in MMOs. So maybe that's where this is all headed to. I don't know. Yeah. Do I prefer him to be making multiplayer focused games? No, not really. That's not what I come to Fromsoft games for. That's what I play fighting games for usually. I don't really like the PvP in Souls games. Actually, the first time I played a Souls game was Dark Souls 1, and the servers were down. So I didn't even get to interact with the messages players kept. That was like new to me in Elden Ring. So yeah, I don't know. These games will tide me over. I would rather someone else be making the game, but if it's what he wants to do, he wants to do it. You know what I mean? Can't stop him. And as I kind of yap about this, I guess it's pretty cool that he's allowed to do what he wants to do. He doesn't have to like spam make an Elden Ring 2, make an Elden Ring 3, stuff like that. So it's cool. It's cool. I kind of convinced myself that this is kind of neat, and I'm trying to be open-minded about it. And so I want to talk about the future of FromSoft. I want to talk about why I think this run of games could be sort of a disappointment, because since Bloodborne and Sekiro were kind of super different from the traditional Souls games, I think getting Elden Ring, Armored Core, Nightreign, and then the Duskbloods, like kind of back to back, it kind of, I can see why people would be a little bit like upset, like, oh man, I wish we could get another like Souls-ish type game like Sekiro, where it's very Souls coded, but it's different, you know what I mean? So I can see why that's very disappointing. You know, Elden Ring's an amazing game, but it's like Dark Souls 4 open world basically. So I can see like wanting to be in a different setting or a different playstyle, stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I wanted to take a look at this post by JMN them, who put together this timeline of the games, and out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, did they count Sekiro? 8, 9, 10 games. You know, the 2 of them are the multiplayer games. So we've had a run of 8 single player Souls games, and in 2019, since Sekiro, we had a 3-year lull where we basically got Dark Souls 4. Not that I'm not against Elden Ring being like that, but I could see being like wanting to see something super fresh during that time. And then we got Armored Core, not a Souls game. We got Shadow of the Erdtree, basically just more Elden Ring. In the next 2 years, we get Nightreign and the Duskbloods. So it's been 7 years since a Souls coded game, you know what I mean? So I'm sure a lot of people are excited for the next entry in the Elden Soulsborne hero genre, you know what I mean? They want another name to stick in there. But yeah, since they're making all these characters, what I personally want is for them to make a fighting game. As you guys know, I am a fighting game content creator generally, so I think it'd be cool to have a fighting game with all the Souls characters, Lady Maria, Melania, Radon. It would be sick. It would be sick. Yeah, I just want to make this video just in case people didn't read the article for this game, and to kind of address the concerns of the multiplayer game. Unfortunately, the game is on Switch 2. I think that is a big it's a big W for Nintendo, but it's kind of an L for FromSoft fans. Hopefully the Switch 2 owners, they like it. But yeah, that's all from me. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys upset with these 2 new games? Are you gonna get them? I'm personally gonna get Nightreign. Duskbloods, I'm gonna have to see, you know, if everything lines up for me. In any case, I'm excited to see what it looks like. We still don't have a date, but we know a year, which is cool. And the fact that they're uploading them, I'm so content right now. The fact that they're releasing them like within the same year, I'm sure we're gonna hear something new about soon enough. So we'll just wait patiently. And until then, have a good one.